Hello world of YouTube and welcome to another Carversation, the show where I talk about a topic in my car and open up the comments for a conversation. And this month we're going to keep it a little lighter hearted. We're going to talk about something that's fun. We're going to talk about my Spotify Wrapped for 2019. That's a weird thing to happen just now on the train tracks. I've been looking at my Spotify Wrapped every year since 2017. I think it's a cool thing that Spotify does, and I like that they kind of aggregate all the songs you listen to the most into a playlist. And this year, they did something special and did a decade wrap-up as well. So that's why I figured I would talk about my findings, or what Spotify told me my of the year was, and also do a breakdown of the decade. Now, as for the year, I was a little surprised at first when they told me who my artist of the year was until I thought about it. My artist of the year was Weezer, which again, I was like, what? But then I realized, well, I did do 3 videos on them this year, and I also am working on a 4th video that I've been listening to a lot of their music for, so that makes sense. That 4th video, by the way, isn't coming out until next year at some point. The song is also what was interesting to me, because while Weezer was all over my top played songs playlist of the year, Automatic was apparently the song I listened to the most by them, which also very interesting because, I mean, hey, it's Automatic when you know it. But no, I like that song. I just didn't think that that was the song I listened to the most by them. And then my other top 5 was Vampire Weekend, Clipping, 9 Inch Nails, and Disasterpeace, all of which made sense because I was all about the new Vampire Weekend record. I did a redacted on it as well, and I enjoyed that album a lot. Same with Clipping. I binged their new album, and I'm always listening to Clipping, which I'll get to more later on in the video. Same with 9 Inch Nails. I did the discography review on them, the new discography review, and then I was listening to them as well just because they're my favorite band ever. And then Disasterpeace, because I got a soft spot for Rich Vreeland. That dude he speaks to me musically in a very, very sincere way. Genre breakdowns, my top 5 genres from 5 to 1. Alt metal was number 5, which again made sense. I listened to a lot of Deftones and Faith No More and stuff like that. And then indie rock, which again also made sense. I listened to a lot of indie rock. I talk about a lot of indie rock. Pop also made sense. Regular rock, which again also made sense. And then hip hop was my number 1, which made a fuck ton of sense because I listen to a lot of hip hop. As for my songs of the year, Harmony Hall was my song of the year, which again made sense. I freaked out about that song when it dropped. I still think it's an amazing song. It immediately came up there as one of their bests. Speedboat by Denzel Curry was number 2, which also made a lot of sense because when at work, if I get a song stuck in my head that I don't want in there, I'll just rap the chorus of Speedboat while I'm stalking. You know, that song is really catchy. I think it's one of Denzel's finest songs. And then number 3, which is something else I'll talk about in the decade wrap-up, A Better Place by Clipping. Not Nothing Is Safe, but A Better Place, which, yeah, I listened to that song a lot this decade. It's a song that I genuinely love and is probably my favorite Clipping song. And then the last 2 were more Vampire Weekend, how Vampire Weekend wasn't my artist of the year, but Weezer was, but Hold You Now and Sunflower were also on this year-end wrap-up of my top 5 songs, is beyond me. I don't know. But then one of the other things they did that was cool, they broke down like the minutes you listen to across the years that you've had Spotify. I got Spotify in 2014. That's when I hopped onto the Spotify bandwagon. And it broke down your artist and song of the year for all of those years. And in 2014, my artist of the year was the Mars Volta, and my song of the year was Aberrancula, which made sense because that was the year I was revisiting the Mars Volta a lot. I got Spotify and I was like, oh, fuck. The Mars Volta's on here. Fuck yeah. And I just binged that for like most of the time I had it. And I love Bedlam and Goliath. And actually that year was the year I kind of rediscovered my love of it. So again, kind of made sense. 2015, my album of the year was 9 Inch Nails, which again, duh. And then the song of the year was Crows 1 by Aesop Rock. Made a lot of sense. I binged a lot of Aesop Rock this decade, and it made sense that was... I liked that song off of a Skeleton, so that didn't stick out to me as weird. Maybe a little bit. It's not my favorite song off of Skeleton, but I did listen to it a lot that year. That was the year that I kind of binged a lot of Skeleton, and that is a highlight for me for sure. 2016, my artist of the year was Aesop Rock, which, I mean, he dropped The Impossible Kid. I listened to The Impossible Kid a lot that year. And then my song of the year was A Better Place, because, like I said, I fucking love that song, and I listened to it, obviously, still a lot 3 years later. 2017, my artist was Radiohead, which, you know, again, I like Radiohead, so that makes a lot of fucking sense. And then my song was The Purge by Sescrew, which, again, I liked that song, and I did listen to it a lot that year, but I didn't think it was my song of the year for 2017. I mean, it wasn't on my list, my song of the year, when I did the video breakdown, but I was kind of shocked to see it that high. I mean, much love to Sescrew, and that album is really good, but I don't even know if The Purge is my favorite song off that album. And then 2018, my artist of the year was Tech Nine, which, again, the more I thought about it, made sense. I made that redacted on 8 of his releases into 1. So I did listen to a lot of Tech Nine in 2018, but I wouldn't say that was like the artist I loved the output of the most that year. The song, though, made total sense. Jeannie Becomes a Mom by Caroline Rose. It wasn't my, like, song of the year for last year on my list, but dude, that song is perfect. That is a perfect fucking song. And I still listen to it a lot. I still listen to that song a lot. So, again, not completely confusing. Made a lot of sense. And that, out of all of the songs, like the songs of the year, that one made the most sense, because I listened to that song a lot last year. And I still listen to a lot this year. But as for the best of the decade, the top 5 artists of the decade, from 5 to 1. It said my 5th most loved artist was Tech Nine. Again, I think it's because I do really like Tech Nine, and I did that redacted on his stuff, and I've been working on another redacted for him. So again, I listen to a lot of Tech Nine in my free time. He's a rapper that, again, I've been a fan of for a long time, and so I do binge his stuff pretty frequently. Number 4 artist, Clipping. Again, makes a lot of sense. I love Clipping. They're one of my favorite acts to come out this decade. I think that they are an amazing combination of crazy hip-hop and noise industrial sounds. And again, when I go over the songs of the year, that'll make even more sense, or songs of the decade, that'll make even more sense. 3, 9 Inch Nails, obviously. 2, Radiohead, obviously. Those 2, I always say, I have them on a rotation a lot. And then number 1, Aesop Rock, also, obviously. I listen to a lot of Aesop Rock in my free time. Dude is one of my favorite rappers. Dude has one of the best hip-hop catalogs, and he's just so listenable. I just throw him on whenever I'm doing a lot of shit. I love his shit. As for genre of the decade, it was rock, which I was kind of surprised. I listen to a lot of rock, but I didn't think I listened to that much rock. And then songs of the decade. 5, Talk to Me by Run the Jewels, which, when RTJ3 came out, I binged the fuck out of that project. I love RTJ3, and Talk to Me is such a good song. I think I like Legend Has It more, but when it came out, I was listening to Talk to Me a fuck ton. Number 4, Daydreaming by Radiohead. Again, I put it on my top Radiohead songs list. I listened to it a lot when it came out, and it's still one of my favorite Radiohead songs to go back to if I want something truly hypnotic. 3, again, Purge by Sescrew. I didn't think I listened to that song that much, but I guess I did. Again, I liked that song. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Sescrew song. I feel like I listen to Seven Chakras a lot more than Purge, but maybe I'm wrong. I do like that song, but it sticks out like a sore thumb across all of these lists. Number 2, Exit Music for a Film by Radiohead, because again, it's one of my favorite Radiohead songs, and I do listen to it a lot. Makes a lot of sense. And then number 1, A Better Place. It was my song of the year for one of the years, and it was on my top 5 this year. I've listened to it so many goddamn times. It is one of the best songs that's come out this decade, in my opinion. That's a true statement. Like, Spotify tracking it to that point makes a lot of sense. And I love that song. And that's my Spotify Wrapped. But that's going to conclude this conversation. Artist of the Decade, Aesop Rock, Song of the Decade, Better Place. What's been on your Spotify Wrapped? Do you have a Spotify account? Have you done your Spotify Wrapped? What's been on yours? What's been your artist or song of the year or decade? I'd be curious to know what yours have been, what your feelings on mine are, all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so very much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerdery content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you'd like to join their ranks, linked in the description is my Patreon. Well, like I said, I'm going to get out of here. I've been Valor Rack. You guys have today's last situations, and I'll see you another day.